Thank you for staying tuned. In the concluding interview on the state of federal roads, we look at the efforts to fix some of the bad roads.
They help us even in formulating our work plans, our condition surveys, and prioritizing where to work based on what are the activities of the state level and the state government. So anywhere we've had this road maintenance agencies in the states, we've seen bigger advantages relative to those that do not have. Moving forward, we will have even more of such advantages. And I project that if there is a road sector reform, within just a few years, all the state governments will have their own road maintenance agencies because there's an incentive for them to benefit from the road fund. Road fund, when it is created, will also cater for the activities of the state governments. See, in Nigeria, there is close to 200,000 kilometers of road networks. Only about 36,000 of that, which is, you can say, is about 15, 16, 17% of the total length, are federal roads. The rest belong to the state and the local governments. The thing is that the federal highway network takes 80 to 90% of the load that moves the economy. So a small portion of the total road network is carrying the majority of the goods and passenger traffic in the country. And that is why I will say, despite every other views you might have, the federal highway network has actually tried for Nigeria. It is taking usually more than its own fair share of the loading. It is lasting far longer than most roads across the world. Most asphalt roads consisting of flexible pavements last 15 to 20 years. That's how long they are supposed to last. In Nigeria today, we have many roads carrying the bulk of our economic activity that are 40 years, 50 years old. If you look at the Act of FERMA, at its core, FERMA is to do routine and periodic maintenance on federal highways that are still in their life cycle. Today, we are doing more than routine and periodic maintenance, and we are dealing with roads in the majority that are out of their life cycle, that I would say technically are expired. But you have no option than to keep them. I believe that the number of kilometers we have of federal highway network today are inadequate to carry the growth of the economy. This economy has grown in the last 20 years, but the growth of the federal highway network in the last 20 years has not nearly met the request of this growth. The population is growing, the traffic population is growing, even the loads of the traffic are growing. All our roads, standard asphalt roads, are designed to take a maximum of 30-35 tons trucks, where today we have trucks that routinely carry 60, even 70 tons. And our roads are still holding together at a lot of challenges.
Let me ask you this, and you'll be speaking to a lot of Nigerians who probably doesn't understand some of these intricacies. When you're doing your maintenance, first I'd like to know, what are the challenges you face? I mean, there will be several of them. What are the key challenges you face in carrying out your maintenance duty across the country? And then if you are working at the moment, where are your maintenances concentrated across Nigeria? A few of them maybe.
Okay, so when we are undertaking a condition survey, just in order to bring out our work plan, we, like I told you, concentrate on our arterials. Those are the major roads that carry most of our traffic, simply because they take more than their fair share of the loads. And if they break down, then everyone is affected. Then we look at the time of the year and the volume of traffic relative to that time of the year. And then we look at equity across geographical zones as well. Because the federal highway network is meant to serve every part of the country. And the nature of the function of the road is that from the beginning of the road up to the end is all equally important. I mean, if you have a federal highway that starts from Kano, goes through Zaria, Kaduna, Lokoja, Okene, Auchi, right to Benin, the person sitting in Benin is as equally affected by condition of that road as the person in Kano, regardless of where that section of the road that is damaged is. So the person in Kano is very concerned that his goods that are coming from Benin are being impacted by the damage between Auchi and Epoma, whether it is in Kano or not. You see, the function of the chain is always as strong as the weakest link. And therefore, we see a repair of road infrastructure in that light. It is serving the entire part of the country. Then we look at how much resources we have, and we use that to prioritize how much we can do. And I will tell you, in most cases, we don't have nearly as enough resources as possible as we would want. Typically, we have 36,000 kilometers of the federal road. Our survey indicates less than 13,000 kilometers are in fair motorable road that you can say is okay. The rest of it is all requiring attention. On the other hand, at our present level of funding, we can barely do 2,500 or 3,000 roads and put them in good shape. So that huge gap is still there. But we have to always ensure that we take a prioritization exercise that ensures that we maintain optimal traffic flow. We prevent total cut-off of sections of the country. So if you have a corridor of 100 kilometers, there will be 1 or 2 or 3 locations where you have a washout, a culvert or bridge is about to collapse, and we just go to those specific points and we just make them okay, so we restore the flow of the traffic. In many cases, we will not also do the whole 100-kilometer stretch because we will by that time have emergencies waiting for at some other parts of the country. And there are times during the rainy season, especially when we get calls from state governors 2 or 3 times in different locations across the country in a week. And we have to just go to those dangerous spots at a time and try to remediate them. Rather than taking stretches to do general repairs, which we do at other times of the year.
Let me close on this note. We did mention funding and how critical it is. These roads, we need them. Do you think the time is right perhaps to look at that law established in FERMA and see how we could perhaps tinker with the act if possible so we can raise funds to work on our roads?
I think before we even do that, we have to look at the compliance with that existing law to begin with.
Compliance?
Yes. We have a problem. There's a stipulation in the FERMA Act Amendment of 2007 that 5% of the present template of petroleum products should be devoted to road maintenance. That part of the act is not as of now being implemented. Now, if we could have that compliance, it would suddenly more than double the funding that we have in FERMA. And I will acknowledge that this has been a lot of concern to different sectors of government. We've spoken to different sectors of government. We are speaking with PPPRA, who are very understanding. In fact, PPPRA is a member of the FERMA Board of Governors. We are speaking with other levels of government, and we are speaking with the National Assembly. And even as we speak now, there is a committee in the National Assembly that is looking at the reasons why this is not being implemented. It's not that the money is being remitted, taken but not remitted. The money simply doesn't exist at present level of at the present pricing. But there is a lot of serious discussion and effort towards making this to become realizable.
And General Nuruddin Rafandadi, on that very positive note, I would like to thank you again for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.
Now, thank you for watching this week's episode of the program. Let's continue the conversation online through the email address and Twitter handle on your screens. Also, be sure to share anything that is happening within your locality with us.